We are now going to make the vinyl pocket. So I have standard wash away stabilizer in the hoop. I have my pieces of vinyl cut, so you should have had one large piece and you're going to cut two smaller pieces from that. You will also, I believe, have another piece for another project, but you will make sure you cut that down before you start. And pull out your lace zipper from your kit. That was inside of the plastic box, not in the embellishment kit. I have a matching thread so that it's going to coordinate nicely with my zipper tape. So that is the color that I am matching, is going to match that zipper itself. The color is made by Dime. It's from the Exquisite line. It is color number ES903, and it matches that almost perfectly. It is absolutely beautiful with that. And the first thing that we're going to do is the placement line for the left piece of vinyl. So we're going to go ahead and stitch that. We are going to place that. I'm going to go ahead and slide that back so you guys can see what's going on here. We are going to place our vinyl literally exactly on that line. So you're going to need to tape that in place. This is not going to be one of my famous, we're just going to hold that situations. As you can see, it is literally right at that line. So we are going to need to use some tape and put that in. The tape is going to be stitched over. So as much as I'm telling you to go ahead and tape this, I don't recommend taping it literally, you know, all four sides and down everything. So make sure it's lined up everywhere. And then just as is shown in the picture, I recommend taping down the centers to keep everything in position. So one on each side of that piece, right in the middle, and it should keep all of your pieces lined up, top, bottom, and sides. We're going to put that back into the machine, and it's going to then tack that down. You certainly, if you are concerned about your sides staying in position, you certainly can guide that with your hand. It's going to stitch inside of the original line. Very important, do not trim the vinyl at this time, but we do want to remove that tape. Once that tape has been removed, go ahead and stitch the placement line for the right side. Once again, we are going to take our second piece and line that up directly with those placement lines that were just stitched, and then tape down in the centers again to make sure that everything stays put. We once again need to remove that tape. Again, we are not removing, or we're not trimming, excuse me, the vinyl. Right, all the tape is removed. So the next thing that we need to do is to place the actual zipper in place. So using this line here as the left placement line and this line here as the right placement line, we are going to place the zipper teeth in between those two places. You want the zipper head towards you here, and then the stop up at the top. You want to make sure that both of them are outside of the field that will be excuse me, that will be stitched. So make sure that the head is below here and that the stop is above here. And again, we're going to use this line here, right and left, to make sure that those zipper teeth are placed nice and evenly centered there. We're going to tape at the bottom here and tape again at the top there. Make sure that that is nice and tight, and then we will stitch that in place. That should be step number 5, which is the final stitch here. So I've centered my top piece and taped that in place, and I am just going to walk those zipper teeth and make sure that they stay right in the center of that opening, using those right and left placement lines to make sure that everything is where I want it to be. And I'm going to continue to walk that in place all the way down. Make sure it's nice and tight. And then take a second piece of tape and make sure that that is nice and tight and stays in position here. Once we have that in position, we're going to put that back into the machine, and it will then stitch that next piece, which is going to tape and stitch that back right into position. So that completes the stitch out for this portion. What we're going to do is remove all of the tape at there and then remove the project from the hoop. At that point, you're going to turn everything to the back and trim away any excess stabilizer around the project and inside the vinyl sections. Do not trim the stabilizer from the zipper, and do not wash away anything at this time from the zipper or from the vinyl at this time. So you can see here, I removed the project from the hoop, I turned it to the back, and I removed all of the excess from the outside, and then I removed it from the back of the vinyl. I still have it on the back of the zipper and on the stitch lines themselves. At this point, we're going to set up to attach this to the folio itself. I have hooped sticky wash away stabilizer in the hoop, and we have loaded our final design, which is going to attach the vinyl pocket to our folio. The first thing that we need to do is going to do the placement line for attaching the folio to the stabilizer. So this one is going to be a little bit different than what we've been doing before. This is going to be on the inside of the folio versus stitching on the outside, which all of the other pieces have been. So please make sure that you are putting this on the right side of the little out portion of this. So we are going to go ahead and place that right inside that little line. Make sure that you're nice and square, and then go ahead and smooth that down onto your stabilizer there in the hoop. Once you have that all placed, we can go ahead and move on to the next step. So what we're going to do is make sure that you have the thread color in that's going to match. So I still have that in from what we had before, so I'm all set there. And you do want to match your bobbin thread to your top thread, so do make sure that you have that. Once again, make sure that your bobbin thread is going to match and you have your folio lined up inside of those marking lines that we just stitched. The next thing we're going to do is going to be marking lines for where to line up the pocket. All right, those tick marks are going to be where we're going to place our pocket that we made in the previous stitch out. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that hoop back towards us, and we've got a mark here and we've got a mark here. They're basically little T's, and what those are going to be is it's going to be where we're placing our zipper teeth. So just like we did before when we were making sure that that zipper lined up with the space between here, we're going to pull that up and we're going to make sure that the zipper teeth are on that T-point, and then we're going to lay that down, and you're going to check and make sure that the other side is doing the same. When you have both of those lined up, you're going to put a piece of tape here to make sure that your height is in position. Once you have that height set, then open the zipper and put the placement of the zipper pull in the center, and then tape both sides down. I now have both of my ends of the zipper firmly in place so that my embroidery foot won't get caught. I have my zipper head in the center so that I will actually have a pocket that I can open, and I have the tape at the top making sure that it is staying in position so that I am centered where I need to be. Once I have that, there is going to be a squaring stitch that keeps everything in place. In the directions, it does tell you to go ahead and raise your embroidery foot. So if you are concerned that there may be a catch on that embroidery foot going over the zipper teeth, please make sure that you go ahead and do that, but make sure that you remember to lower it once you are done with this section. All right, we're going to go ahead and remove all of the tape at this point. So please note we are removing the tape, but we are not doing any trimming. So everything is going to stay just as it is. We are not trimming until after the decorative stitch is in place. We are just removing the tape at this point. And there we are. We are now all set. Everything has been stitched on our folio. So at this point, we are going to do a trim all the way around. You're going to need to open up the rest of that zipper and do a rinse to get rid of all of the rest of the wash away stabilizer. Once we have everything all rinsed and dry, you are going to fold in this front panel and take your elastic, which I currently have clipped. One moment and I will get that free. So this piece comes forward and the elastic goes up and over. You're going to tuck that elastic inside and it will stay inside that seam here, and you will sew this piece here, and that will create that front pocket and keep that elastic tucked in nice and tight so that you can use that to keep it closed. That back panel then also folds over, so E folds over, or I guess that one's A folds over B, and then you will sew both the top and the bottom closed on the back, and your folio is complete. I hope you enjoyed sewing with us and you have fun using your folio.